Mrs. Gasparo? Here. Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Teray?
Here.
Mrs. Galbraith?
Here.
Dr. Hall?
Here. All right, thank you. Steve, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, at this time, we will have our good news report. We have Crete Elementary here to discuss their Jedi Math Night. This is Erin Lane. It cracks. There. It's You know what, Erin? We do need to you to use the microphone because it's being recorded. You want to use one of these? Take one of these.
Thank you.
Okay, is that better? Okay. All right, well, I would like to say good evening to everyone that's here tonight, all of our Crete Monee 201U families, staff members, board members, and central office cabinet. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Erin Lane, and I'm the principal of Crete Elementary. And I am very excited to have my administrative dean, Kim Summarize, with me this evening, along with my math interventionist, Lisa Miller. And we are, thank you. And we are here to tell you a little bit about our Jedi Math and Science Academy night that was recently held. I'm going to have, could I have you maybe, yeah, because I'm going to run out of hands here. You didn't tell me I was going to have to multitask like this. Okay, you want to scroll ahead to the next one for me? The right button. Okay, a short time ago, this would have been last Thursday evening, at a school not so far away, that school is Crete Elementary, we held our Jedi Math and Science Academy. And our rationale for this evening, for planning the event, is that we wanted to provide a reinforcement for the district-wide math initiative and the math fact plan that we have throughout the district this year. And we wanted to reinforce the importance of having our students. Thank you. Okay, better. We wanted to reinforce the importance of having our students learn their math facts with automaticity. And simply what that means is that they know those facts kind of like a snap of the finger, and they start learning those facts the minute they enter kindergarten. By the end of kindergarten, they're expected to know those addition facts through 5. And this is very important. I remember years back when I was in 5th grade, our principal came to us when we were in 5th grade and tested us on our addition, subtraction, and multiplication facts. It was very nerve-wracking, but it was a very large goal that we had in our school. And what we're finding is our students are not always learning those facts, and we need to make sure that we're reinforcing them and doing a consistent job of that at school, and that we're also getting that at-home reinforcement as well. And I know many of you have listened to Bill Hanlon, who is a consultant that works with our district on math and math strategies, and he will attest that all of the math that students learn is rooted in those basic facts, so it's very important that they learn those. We also wanted to make sure, obviously, that we're providing that parent education piece. The more that we can teach you as parents, the more you can help us do our jobs, and the more you can reinforce your students. And we realize that's changed so much in this era of Common Core curriculum. A lot of the vocabulary has changed, the standards look different. So when we plan our evening events for parents, whether that's in math or literacy, we want to make sure that we're providing as much education for you as possible so that you can support your students. We also think that the hands-on learning is extremely important. We all know that students, a lot of students, and even us as adults, we learn more when we're doing something and we're actively involved. And you're going to see that in some of the slides that we present this evening and show you the pictures of our students and our parents who are so readily engaged in this evening. And then just appealing to that overall, that integration of science and math and technology and engineering, that STEM philosophy, how very important that is for our students in the era that we're living in, where things are changing so drastically. We need to provide that foundation for our students. Many of them, they may work in careers that aren't even invented or created yet. We need to make sure that they're prepared for that. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Miller.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All right, do you like my blue shirt? We designed these shirts based on May the Facts Be With You.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so, and Laura has one. We expect her to wear her shirt one day to our school. And Mrs. Sanders has one also. All right, so moving right along, the first thing that we did was we had a parent workshop. And in the parent workshop, I covered the math fact strategies, provided that to the parents, as well as I talked about all 4 operations and what strategies go along with those operations, the order that you should learn each strategy in order to make them effective. So we wanted to make sure that the parents knew, because a lot of times you hear parents say, oh my gosh, this new math is so difficult. But it doesn't have to be difficult as long as we're teaching it a certain way. So also, the other thing that we did in our school was, myself along with the resource teachers, we tested all 3rd and 5th graders on the strategies to determine which ones they knew. At parent-teacher conference, the parents will receive this information in order to assist the classroom teacher in learning these at home. So we had student and parent activities. After I met with the parents, we played math fact Jenga. So when the parents went to sit down, they had Jenga. Everyone's played Jenga, right? Okay. So they had flashcards, and this one is addition and subtraction, and then they have multiplication and division. And based on how fast they would answer, we gave them 5 seconds to answer. They got to remove a Jenga block. And whoever had the most blocks when the tower toppled was the winner. So that was the first game that the parents played together. And you can see our parents having fun. All right, so then we did build a boat. The purpose of Build a Boat was we tied it into science with measurement, weight, and predictions. So what our students had to do was we gave them a 15 centimeter by 15 centimeter piece of foil, and notice it's awfully small to build a boat, right? According to our IMSA person, when you build this boat, it should be able to hold 100 pennies. We were all like, what? So, the student that built the boat, they built this little small boat and it was able to hold 30. So we had a winner, we gave out prizes for that. All right, then we did catapults would be our next one. So this is a sample of what one of the catapults would look like. So the parents were given plates, spoons, wooden sticks, some masking tape, and a ping pong ball to shoot across the room. All right, so we measured it. The furthest person was, I want to say a third grader, 70 feet, right? And the purpose of that was to look at accuracy, to look at force and angles. So again, tying in that science and math piece. And that's just more pictures of the parents building it. The parents had a lot of fun that evening. And again, we wanted to tie in the math and science together and make it more interesting and really hands-on and give parents something to do at home with their students as well. So may the facts be with you.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions that we could answer or any comments?
What was the percentage of turnout for the parents? How many turned out?
We had between, I would say, families and students, we had close to, I would say, about 100 people that were there. Percentage of our families, I would say, maybe 20 to 30%. We try to do as much advertising as we can. We provide food on those event nights. We had a lot of parents that asked for follow-up for this particular event. They would like another workshop presented sometime before the students take math testing again, which is in January. So we did have, that did come up from a number of parents as a comment that they had. So then, we would follow up with that information as well.
Yeah, I have another question. Out of this 20 to 30% that showed up, how many of these kids were kids that really needed help? Or was this 20 to 30% more of the kids that are on task and on level and excited about it? I guess the bottom line I'm trying to say here is, did we reach the kids that really need the help the most to get them to come out with their parents?
Yes, we did. As the math interventionist, looking at the student body that was present that evening, normally and typically you will get the same parents that always come out, but this particular night, we were able to pull in students that come to me for math intervention. So I was excited about that. We did pump it up. We wore the shirts. We had lightsabers that we went around the school with. We put, she talked through yoga. That was very kind of her. We put Darth, we have a big sign for Darth Vader. We put that in the hallway. Miss Lane made several calls home. So we were able to really reach a population that we normally don't see.
Okay, thank you.
The event was held we had it from 6:15 to 8 p.m. And we ended up going over. The parents were having a great, because you never quite start on time. I mean, that's always a given. And the parents were really our parents were very much engrossed in what they were doing. Our kids were too. You could probably see that in some of the photos. But again, wanting to make sure that we're doing whatever we can, to reach those parents so that they're trying to reinforce that with their students at home. Right. The comment was with the working parents. So we try to have that starting time. We have just a social event this Friday, which is a dance, and that starts at 6:30. So we try to keep it, and even like in terms of like that particular event, we're trying to draw in parent volunteers too. So, you're trying to get the parents that do work. I had a mom that said to me today, well, I work till 5, so that's perfect for me. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Of course, since I was in attendance, just to commend you, it was a great night. I want to say what I said there, which is that we definitely want to have, as parents, a follow-up where it's pertinent. We've received great information to go back home and use as resources for our kids. And then the piece that I usually say to Mrs. Hirsch is that school districts pay a lot of money for a lot of programs. Most specifically, we discussed Mr. Bill Hanlon, who we hire as a consultant and pay a substantial fee. And the question was asked, people have access to his website, but district-wide, the information is not being communicated as to how to access his online services, which are at no cost to the district as a result of his consultancy. So I think we need to do a better job from maybe the district level to get it publicized that those resources are available. And you, I believe, shared with your parents that night, or at least that was the
intention. I have
intention.
all the login information ready to be emailed.
Okay.
Because I'll be honest with you, I always forget how to get in, and then I'm following up, I forget how to get in to the site. But I do have that information, so we'll put that in part of the school messenger. We'll put that on the email blast that we send out to the parents. Because I had several that had asked about that at that evening event. And like you said, that's there, and that's a resource that they can access freely.
That we paid for.
He's coming back twice to our building this year, so we have more events in the works for all of our parents and families. Okay.
I have one other question.
Okay.
When I went to school with the dinosaurs, we did a lot of drill. Have we gotten away from it, or are we going back to it?
I would say that's still part of it, Mr. Teray. We do have a rocket math program. I'm going to let Mrs. Miller address that as well.
So district-wide, we will be doing the rocket math. And the program, it is a drill and kill, so to speak, but it is run by the students, so teachers have a little interface with it. And what happens is I work with a partner at my level. So as opposed to just sitting with flashcards the entire time and us drilling back and forth, the students are tested, they work at their level, and then they pass to the next level, A through Z. And it is addition to multiplication.
And then that would be somewhat differentiated too. So they do get assessed at the beginning, so they start at the level that they're at, and then they work through it, and that's daily. Now that is part of our plan, our initiative for math for the district. So our teachers know in our building that that's like a non-negotiable. You need to be doing rocket math. Mrs. Miller did a very nice PD for our staff at one of our institute days, has volunteered to come and help them set up their system because there's a folder system for that. And so that's in the works in our building as well. They have other games and they have other ways that they do work on the facts, but that's still, that drill piece is still part of it.
Okay, thank you.
When you said the word differentiate, I thought you was getting ready to say differential. So you teaching the kids differential equations at this point. So that's good.
If they're
That's
ready
good.
for it. If they're ready for
That's
it.
good. You know, but just the mindset with the STEM program, getting the kids acclimated at such a young age says volumes for what you guys are doing. So, you know, we're talking about the Common Core, getting the kids more in depth, and being able to analyze and understand what 1 + 1 is, not just the answer 3.
And I think that
That's not right, too.
They have that stronger understanding that didn't always exist.
Sure.
Back when I was in elementary school, that was just a little past the time
Sure.
of the dinosaurs. It just, the meaning of math wasn't always explained. It was just do this, and this is what you need to do, and that's it. And now there's just so much more to it.
But just the fact, the interaction, that says a lot. So keep up the good work, and we will see these kids by the time they get out of high school, math majors, okay?
Okay,
All right.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other board members have comments? I would like to say, Mrs. Lane, to you and Mrs. Miller, as well as the entire staff. We know that teaching is one of the most challenging jobs today, and teaching math, in my opinion, is even more challenging. We know, well, Mr. Teray is saying, you know, back when he was in school, and when I was in school, it was simple arithmetic, and, you know, adding, subtracting, dividing. We know that we are a long way from that. And Mr. Brown mentioned the Common Core standards, and our kids are being asked to do so many different things. It's not just giving the answer, but giving the reasons why, and really understanding why you have an answer. So kudos to you and your staff, and thank you so much for doing this. I think it's wonderful when we invite parents out. Parents are partners in our education, and a lot of times they don't know how to do the homework that comes home, or how to help the students when they come home with the homework. So I think this is a great activity for them as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you also. Also like to praise the district for having a math interventionist. Not everybody has those. And the design is to find those kids where they are, the differentiation, and make sure that they can become more successful every day. That is an outstanding goal to have, and the work that you guys are doing to make sure that we're also engaging the first teachers, which are the parents, helps us all to move up to the next level. So I applaud you.
Thank you. I just have one more kudos for my math interventionist too. When she did say that they did give the oral assessments to the students in addition and subtraction and multiplication and so forth for 3rd through 5th grade, what she did is she put a very nice spreadsheet together for the teachers. So they have, everything's highlighted, what the students have mastered, what they have not mastered, what they're kind of on the bubble on. And then she's giving more professional development on how to reinforce those strategies, those handling strategies, so that those students learn those skills. So my hat's off to her for really putting a lot of time and effort into her position. Okay. Thank you.
Now moving on to our public comment section of the board meeting. First, we have Jennifer Gasparo, board member attendance.
On April 7th, I was elected by the voters of Subdistrict 1 as their representative on the school board. At a special meeting held May 5th, I took an oath of office, just as all 7 school board members have. In signing our oath, we swore to faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education. This includes respecting taxpayer interests by serving as faithful protector of the school district's assets, as well as preparing for and attending all meetings. At this meeting, Member Edward Anderson took the time to welcome me to the board and offer words of encouragement. I was very impressed and excited to start my new role. Since that date, I've had very little opportunity to work with Mr. Anderson. After missing numerous regular, special, and committee meetings, the members of the Board of Education were informed by the superintendent that Mr. Anderson is currently out of town because of his job. He will be participating in board meetings by phone when he is out of town because of his position as allowed by law. Electronic attendance is well within his legal right, and our district has a policy allowing such. As of our September 29th special meeting, this electronic attendance has not occurred. I reached out to Mr. Anderson on several occasions via phone and in writing. All 3 emails I have sent since September 1st have gone unanswered. In my mind, this means that Mr. Anderson has checked out. If he is not returning my calls and emails, is he returning the emails and calls of the residents of his district that he was elected to represent? We are a board of 7 elected officials. We have the monumental job of not only protecting the assets of the district, but also assuring the education and safety of thousands of kids on a daily basis. Very important decisions have been made in the recent past, and many, many more are coming up. In my opinion, these decisions should be made by 7 members, not 6. The attendance record for Mr. Anderson over the past 12 months is, in my opinion, as a taxpayer and a parent of 2 CM201U students, unacceptable. His rate of attendance for the past 12 months for regular meetings is 33%, special meetings 43%, with an overall attendance rate of 37%. If Mr. Anderson were one of our students, actions and support would have already been put in place to assure his success. It has now come to light that Mr. Anderson has relocated to Florida. The only question right now is whether or not his relocation is considered permanent, or if his intent is to eventually move back to Crete, and if so, at what point. I have absolutely no personal issues with Mr. Anderson and think he is a great person. I commend him for following his calling and hope that his new outreach mission is successful. However, I feel it's in the best interest of the entire district to ask Mr. Anderson to resign his position as Board of Education member or call a special meeting with the Regional Board of Education so that it can be determined what steps can and should be taken to be sure that all residents of our communities are being given the attention and representation they deserve. I speak tonight as a community member, taxpayer, parent, and Board of Education member. These are my opinions and not those of the entire Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have Kathy Rivera. CSK changes.
I have a son who's a 5th grader at CSK, and my daughter graduated from CSK, and my son Eli was able to go to CSK because it was tradition. Now I have a 3-year-old with the changes. My JT was going to go to CSK if Eli would have been in 6th grade. With all these changes, is JT going to be grandfathered in?
Your question is whether he will be grandfathered in?
Correct.
Okay. So what we do is when you ask a question, we'll get the response to you. Okay, sorry. You can read on the back of, well, we have another public. Can you get her a form because she turned hers in? The procedures are listed on the back of the public comment form. Next, we have Keisha Eason, Bus Services.
I'm asking about bus service that was adjusted. Parents in the community that I live in weren't informed more than maybe 6 hours, maybe 8, before the bus service was changed, and parents had jobs and had to get their children where they need to be.
Thank you. Our Assistant Superintendent, Monica Spence, is in charge of that, and she will be getting back with you. Next, we have Marla Walls-Sachs. FOIA request regarding the prom. Hello. Thank you. Last, we have Sandy Walters, 6:30 public comment. Thank you. Mrs. Gasparo addressed the issue with Board Member Anderson, and we do know that this is a concern of some of our public. We have had FOIA requests in regards to his attendance and his residency status. We have answered those FOIA requests. We do have our attorney here. We happen to have him here this evening. And I would like for him to address this issue, at least for those who are here and those who would be watching this video. Some of you may know that there was an article published in the Southtown, I believe it was, regarding this, in which Mr. Teray, our board member, was interviewed regarding this situation. However, I do want our board attorney, Mr. Bill Gleasing, to please come briefly at this time to address this issue as far as the legalities of holding a seat that you were voted into. If you can come forward. Oh. Well, basically the legalities of the issue of residency. Okay.
Excuse me, this is not a public comment. What we were asked what our president was asking for was information about the residency and making sure that our attorney could answer what is the legal establishment of residence and how could it be taken away.
So once a board member has established residency, which it's my understanding with respect to Mr. Anderson that he did, residency under Illinois requires physical presence with an intent to remain. Once you've established a physical presence, the test then becomes whether you intend to abandon your residence. So you have to look at whether or not there's facts to determine whether or not Mr. Anderson intends to abandon his residence. I haven't been asked to investigate those facts, so the only facts to which I'm aware are Mr. Anderson's statement that he's temporarily relocated to Florida and that he intends to return. If the board doesn't feel that Mr. Anderson is a resident, it can have a hearing if it wishes to decide whether or not the board in fact believes that Mr. Anderson is a resident. It would be my advice, if that was the route that you chose to go, that you give Mr. Anderson notice that you intend to do that. Give him the information that you believe establishes that he has abandoned his residence and offer him the opportunity to have a hearing. I think the hearing would have to be in open session of the board meeting. If the board doesn't feel that that's the case, then really there's nothing else to do. The only other the board can remove elected officials only in very circumscribed circumstances. Residency actually happens to be one of the circumstances that the board can make the initial determination to remove somebody from the board. And the other ones are death, permanent disability, things like that. If you want to, and I've heard people discuss him being removed for a willful failure to perform duties, the board does not have the lawful authority to remove a board member for those reasons. That's a real technical legal way of saying I don't think he's doing a very good job or he's not doing his job. The only elected official with the authority to remove a board member for those reasons is the regional superintendent, who is Mr. Walsh. And if Mr. Walsh decides that he's going to do that, he would have to implement charges and have the same type of due process hearing that I think the board would. And I think that that type of hearing would take place at Mr. Walsh's office in order for him to comply with the Open Meetings Act. But I don't know whether he intends or not to entertain that type of thing, because that hasn't been asked or told to me.
Thank you.
Okay.
For giving clarity. Okay, moving forward, administrative updates. Mrs. Hirsch, curriculum.
Thank you. Do you have the presenter there? There we go.
I don't know how you do this, but I'm going to, Dr. Hall had her say here, I'm going to request that we have a hearing with the regional office and determine whether or not the evidence we have about his home being vacant, the foreclosure, the non-response to board members or residents, the physical leaving of the area, documents from neighbors, etc., that we investigate this and look into it, because I don't think he's serving his constituents either. Well, the board's not going to be able to do anything. So if the regional office is the only one with the authority to do anything about it, what is the point of us sitting here and talking about it? Okay, how do we request this hearing?
You have to look at your board policy, and it dictates how meetings are called. So I don't know your board
Special.
policy. A special meeting for most of my clients is either called by the board president or 3 members of the board of education. And if it's called by either of those persons or parties, they set the agenda for it. But if you're going to have a hearing, I think need to do some steps at the forefront to give Mr. Anderson notice, because the Illinois Supreme Court has determined that elected officials have a property interest in their position. So if you're going to remove him from the position, you need to offer him a hearing first so that you don't run into any constitutional problem.
Okay. Well, as far as I know, there's 3 board members that want to do this right now. So are we in agreement here? Mrs. Gasparo, myself, Janine, we want to do this, so let's get it done. How do we do it? Can you provide the proper steps so we follow all the steps correctly? And I don't want to miss one I dotting or one T crossing. I want this right.
We have a conversation about what information you would like me to provide to Mr. Anderson that supports inclusion that he's non-resident. I would probably advise that we put that into a letter. I would advise you to give him at least 48 hours notice, which you have to do anyways under the Open Meetings Act, but make sure he gets the letter 48 hours before the board's going to have this hearing. And we should tell him what the reasons are. We think he's not a resident, and allow him to appear if he wants to.
That's fine. Now, our policy is that the president or the superintendent are the only ones who talk to you. So I want to talk to you. We'll sit down. If you're going to offer this, I'll give you the information I have, and we'll have a meeting. Okay? Because you work for me too.
Yeah, but you don't drive no bus here. I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing at this point? This is crazy. Are we talking about the inappropriateness of a board member or Mr. Anderson? Because if we're talking about the inappropriateness of any particular board member, I see we got a lot going on here, especially Mr. Ray and how he's been acting on the many years. So I want to say there, yeah, okay. So you just, sir, you have no right to cut. You have no right. I'm not talking to the public. Security, would you please? This is ridiculous. So you don't run anything here, Mr. Ray. So we're not talking about, I don't know, where you
Mr.
saying?
Brown, he just said if we had 3 board members that wanted this action, we can do this. We have 3 board members. All I need to do is follow the proper procedures and we'll take care of this.
Okay.
I am sure that it's going to be a 3-3 vote anyway, and then we'll take it to the next level. That's all.
But do we have 3 board members that say that Mr. Teray has been acting inappropriately over the last many years, and we would like to move forward to have an investigation on him as well. Do we have 3 board members? I'm one. The kids too.
Here's another
If
point.
we're going to get into all this division,
Here's
this black,
Mr.
white,
Brown,
that's where we're
Mr.
going.
Brown,
this is
about
That's what it looked like.
have
We was
two
trying to
hearings.
have some
It's
cohesiveness.
about residency.
It's not about
And
residency.
is he gonna
This
be,
is ridiculous.
is he
Let's have 2
representing
hearings.
his people?
Just when we
can have
thought
2
we
in one day.
had some semblance of cohesiveness with this board, with the exception of you, and here we go again, 3-3, black, white, for you, for nothing about the kids.
Has nothing to do with his color. Has
Security,
nothing to
would you
do
have
with it.
them? Would you have them removed, please?
Has
would you have
nothing
them
to do
removed,
with-
please?
There's nothing to do with, anything to do with race.
What is 3-3?
Would you
What
have
does
them that
3-3
they are
mean?
to shut up? Oh, now put me in a Monee
Mr.
monitor.
Brown, calm down. Everybody calm down.
This
This is
ridiculous.
why we
This
don't
is crazy.
That's enough.
responsible.
Been holding my peace for 4 years plus,
Okay.
and this is absolutely absurd. Enough is enough.
Okay, let's move forward. Let's move forward. Well, she has a right to leave. She doesn't have to stay. They all have a right to leave. Moving forward. Thank you.
Mike, before you leave, the only thing I want to say is if you really want cohesiveness and equality, you would not have sent, you're bringing division by your actions. You sent an email today to 2 board members, not to 7 board members. You didn't ask 7 board members what they would like. You came to showboat in front of these people to say, yes, you did. Because when you want 7 members, here's the point. We're a 7-member board. For an individual to send an email to 2 individuals to exclude, because you're right. Today, you did not. I don't know where the 7th member is either. I'm in full agreement with you. I don't know where he is. I've made phone calls as well. But what I do say is, if we are about cohesiveness, I didn't get an email this afternoon from my colleague asking me if I would like to go along with this process. When you start division, it's going to continue. So this is what it is. No cohesiveness.
Okay, I do need to announce that because we no longer have a quorum, this meeting can no longer continue, and we will need to recess at this time.